Against the backdrop of the news still making headlines that Republicans are now very worried about Donald Trump's murky comments, to put them in the best light possible, about white extremist groups and his refusal to officially denounce them during Tuesday's debate. Today we're learning that it's not just Trump who's having a hard time condemning white supremacy. His press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, was asked today, quote, as the person who speaks for the president, does the president denounce white supremacy and groups that espouse it in all forms? Her response: this has been answered yesterday by the president himself and the day before by the president himself. On the debate stage, the president was asked this. He said, sure, 3 times. Well, here was Trump's actual response from the debate stage Tuesday night.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
white supremacists. Like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem.
McEnany also said today, quote, yesterday he was point blank asked, do you denounce white supremacy? And he said, quote, I've always denounced any form of that. Again, here was Trump's actual response yesterday, rather dismissive, and in which he then said he doesn't even know who the Proud Boys are.
I don't know who the Proud Boys are. I mean, you'll have to give me a definition, because I really don't know who they are. I can only say they have to stand down, let law enforcement do their work. In New York, like they've done in New York, I just told you.
But you denounce them. Do you denounce
I've always denounced any form of any of that you have to denounce. But I also, Joe Biden has to say something about Antifa. It's not a philosophy.
His mouth just can't get around the word. Any form of that. It's not denouncing white supremacy. So Kayleigh McEnany also brought up Trump denouncing the Charlottesville clashes. Kayleigh said this, quote, in August of 2017, the president said racism is evil and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups. But she left out that Trump also said this.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
Let's bring into the conversation Yamiche Alcindor, White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour and an MSNBC political analyst. AB is still here. Why can't they move their lips around the words, I condemn racism, I condemn white supremacy, I condemn the Proud Boys? Next question, Yamiche.
I'm not quite sure, and it was remarkable to see John Roberts of Fox News press and press and press to try to get that answer. It's a simple answer. It's a layup question in some ways for someone to just say, do you denounce this? But what we saw from the White House press secretary instead was reading old quotes, trying to say that the president has already done this when we haven't heard the president say those words. On the White House's end, they feel like this is a distraction. They say that the media is focusing too much on this. But John Roberts has made a really smart point, and it's one that continually needs to be made. This is not just Democrats and reporters. There are Republicans miles from the White House who are also wondering, why can't this White House denounce white supremacy? Republicans all over the country who are now running in races, who are having to have their name, of course, attached with President Trump, who see that as they think as a benefit to them, except that President Trump is not denouncing white supremacy, and as a result, he's also really hurting the chances of Republicans down ballot. We saw today Tim Scott, the only African-American senator, Republican, he is pushing to get an answer for this still. At first he said, well, maybe the president misspoke, but today he's saying, well, I still want an answer for that. So this tells you that this White House continues to struggle with what should be a simple denunciation, a simple condemnation of white supremacy.
So, AB, I'm going to show you what Yamiche just described, which is Fox News's John Roberts. It's a pretty extraordinary piece of sound in a vacuum, but considering that he works at Fox, especially extraordinary. But I just want to follow up. The White House is mad this is a distraction. The White House created the distraction. So I guess my question to you is to push a little further here. They could have made this go away the night of the debate. They were informed early yesterday that there were two things Donald Trump had to clean up from his debate performance. One was refusing to condemn white supremacy, and the other was the broad swath with which he sought to delegitimize an election that hasn't occurred yet. Really, he's done neither. But this isn't a distraction created by anybody other than the White House. What do you think is behind it?
Yeah, he has not been cleaning up those things. Nicole, this is so purposeful. That's why they struggle to use sentence fragments. Look, think what you want about Kayleigh. She cannot say anything different than what her boss sends her out to say while he watches the TV from that little room off the Oval Office, that dining room. She has no choice but to squirm and not denounce in explicit terms any hate group that he refuses to denounce. They're just using that line about why this is, some dumb distraction when, as you said, it could have never happened or been ended on Tuesday night. This is something that when you hear the president, he's done this in years past. He says, people keep asking me to disavow, I'll disavow. But he doesn't put the sentence together. If we thought that if Donald Trump was upset about the Proud Boys making a meme and a bunch of T-shirts and a rallying cry out of his remarks, the debate, not upset about it. And he is not going to tell us he's upset about it, no matter how many Republicans have called him in a panic in the hours following the debate. He has made clear, and Kayleigh reaffirms that today, that they are not going to denounce a white ring hate group, and they have no intention of doing so. And that all of that language is always purposeful.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.